It's game night with the game night once again. And to the astute viewer, you might notice that, look, where are we? Where are we, Nathan?
A new location.
Is it a new location?
No, we just changed angles.
Yeah. You've probably seen this wonderful bookshelf.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Before.
Wait, where am I?
We're using it for multiple things now. But we've rearranged, we've got a bit more space, and so there we go. Game night's a new backdrop. I reckon it looks better.
Why are we here, Shad?
Well, we've recently watched Free Guy. We want to talk about it and let you know our thoughts on it.
I watched it perfectly legally on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, completely legal.
So, okay, interesting movie. I have thoughts. I'm sure you guys have thoughts.
I thought it was... Can I
well, by the way,
verdict?
if you know anything about these roundtable discussions, it's all spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers all the way down.
Can I just give my overall verdict?
Yes.
Awful.
I understand now, Shad, how you feel whenever there's a fantasy medieval movie.
Oh yeah, because you're gig.
Yeah, so I watched this and I was like, oh, that's how he feels.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder he gets so mad.
So, in what way? What was affecting you so much?
All the technical aspects of it. All the jargon, all the way that they're like, we're game developers, and then there was some I give them credit where credit's due because they did it better than other movies have in the past, but they were just
really,
yeah.
Because I thought I can't remember too many movies. I don't know much about hacking, for instance.
Yeah.
I know hacking is just done awfully in movies.
Yeah.
And if you watched, it's the Die Hard 4.0 one, whereas I don't know, some type of the hacking garbage. I know but I don't know enough to be like the specifics. But I do know enough about gassy drinks. I know enough about gassy drinks. About game developing and just basics. Not as much as you, but even I had enough to just wow, it's really bad. And I can't remember other gaming relating movies and stuff that was this bad in terms of how they depicted how games actually operate.
Spy Kids 3D was pretty bad.
It's a kids movie as well, and the same thing with this movie.
This.
Yeah, because I'll give them credit with they managed to make a movie that everyone can enjoy.
Oh,
they didn't
wrong.
do a specific.
Everyone can enjoy.
Okay, not everyone can enjoy. For example, you can take your kids to see this.
No, you can't. There's 5 F-bombs.
Parents who are okay with that.
My parents are okay with that, and look how I turned out.
Yeah. Okay,
which should be a ground warning to all parents.
I saw Wedding Crashers when I was 10.
We love y'all. You turned out.
Okay.
I'm the worst one in the office. I turned out. I'm still alive. That's the point in my favour.
Well, no, this is the thing about Oz. Society needs people like Oz, but not everyone. You only want a couple of people like Oz. He is special.
Society couldn't function if there was too many of them.
Exactly. You need, but you're the jester in the court, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, totally.
The only one who disagrees with the king.
And those actually are very important roles to play. I actually, it's the reason why we have Oz around. Not only as a good friend, but,
I'm so happy that's my archetype.
But, no, you can't have everyone be like that.
Not everyone, no.
And even Oz knows this.
We'd kill each other. It'd be bloodbath. Anyway, back to the movie. Sorry.
Yes, Free Guy.
Yeah, so I think it's a fun movie. For example, I could watch this with my dad and know that we both enjoy it. It's got game stuff that I like, and it's funny enough for him to pick up and kind of get the story. But everything else is kind of an issue for me. All the game stuff.
So, yeah, this movie failed for me on a number of levels. Unfortunately, I like Ryan Reynolds. But
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I want good movies.
You like his self-satisfied, smug expression?
No, I want good movies, and it's unfortunate this movie, in my opinion, actually isn't good. And it fails on multiple levels, and we'll obviously talk about the game development one as the main thing. But because so much of the payoff was reliant on the mechanics of the game world, about essentially getting through a barrier in the game, and that they... It's going a game developer in the actual movie doesn't know how to turn off collision. And
What was their solution to that, by the way? Did they like overload it or something? Because that does happen in like video games.
No,
You can
here's the
overload
thing,
it
that
now.
there was so many creative ways you could do this. Like, you just look at YouTube videos of people breaking games, and that could be the end movie. Like, people going in cars and breaking collision and, you know, so many different ways that they could have done it.
But the problem where they failed is that they legitimately had one of the developers, the inside people that had full admin access, unable to boot people, ban people, disable collision, get like it was like any person on a game with admin access has full control over these things.
Who is the dev company? EA? Because you know what happened with
Wasn't
Titanfall?
it like some weird tsunami?
Yeah, Tsunami. But
Yeah.
you know what happened with Titanfall? Basically, like a handful of hackers managed to take over all of Titanfall 1 and 2, and they can't do anything about it. People are just getting banned by hackers. And so, anyway, yeah. Incompetence makes sense.
There were like significant payoffs reliant on arbitrary bullcrap. That the movie was just saying, this is how the game's things work. You can start smashing server after server.
Oh, that got me so mad.
And the game go down bit by bit by bit.
So,
And to
Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but breaking those servers would only stop individual instances of people connecting to the server, right? So,
No, it probably just crashed the whole server.
yeah, like you take one out, like they're all interrelated.
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was those servers kept people connected through the...
Well, okay, here's the thing as well. That server, I don't know what server that was. Was that, like, their entire server base? Was it just the game server? Was it the network server? And also, who puts a server right next to the entrance of their studio that says, server, do not enter? You can just run in and steal everything or break stuff.
And the reason why he started smashing servers was because they couldn't delete the NPC code. These game developers have no power over deleting an NPC in their own game. And so the payoffs of this movie is reliant on stuff like that, and they end up just making arbitrary bullcrap, saying, no, you can't delete them because, and then they say the only way you could do it is if you wipe the servers. And I'm like, that's not how games work. And I could not get invested in any of it because it was, when it's arbitrary and the writer's just making up bullcrap, it's like Deus Ex Machina, the writers are just doing whatever they want for what they want, and therefore there's no satisfying payoff, there's no stakes at all, because you know the writers aren't going to follow through if a bad setup would happen and you're expecting something bad out of it. No, they'll just write themselves and they don't care about their own rules or consistency. And when a film is like that, it's just like, who gives a crap what happens, you know?
Yeah.
Also, there was a bit of stupidity in regards to the hidden build and stuff. So, this is so dumb. They're after proof that this game had code. They're using code illegally and they're not paying royalties to the people who made the code, right? And so they are after proof of it. And this is legitimately the plan to get it. She's trying to get a video file that was screen captured by this high-tier player. And she's, instead of finding his name, contacting him in chat, saying, hey, could you send me this? It was streamed, so it's probably just on the streaming service still.
You're so right.
Like,
why didn't she just do that?
it's like, but instead, this movie is so friggin' dumb about how things work, just with internet recording and stuff like that. It thinks that this video file is saved in the game by the player in his home base that he can only access from inside the game. And when she gets it, she can't bring that video file out of the game. She can't screencast, she can't play it. But
She didn't have shadow play.
and the dumbest thing is that this video file has the evidence and proof that their build, the code they had, is in the game. That's all she needed. She just needed the video file. But this movie is so freaking dumb that once she gets the video file, no, they can't prove it until they go there themselves and show it while actively streaming. But you have the video file from someone else who found it streaming. This movie is stupid.
Also, remember the part how she had to fight? She tried to fight to get in the first time, but then she teleported out. And then all of a sudden she goes in there a second time, just teleports right in there. Notice that?
I can't remember.
So she goes there to start a fight to get in, right? And then Free Guy shows up,
Yeah.
and she fails. And then later on, she just teleports into the actual thing itself.
See, I don't even remember that.
Yeah, well, it was stupid.
But that is astronomically dumb. The guy who had it would just have his video file, and that's the proof you need. And legitimately, the plot of the movie is structured around, like, this is the payoff, this is the thing that they're trying to, like, the very end of the movie is Free Guy trying to run to this build of the game, which is behind a collision wall, and that's the whole payoff. And it's founded on the most stupid, just doesn't, that, like, do you see how dumb this movie is?
Can we talk about some things we liked about it?
Yeah, we'll get there. I just really want to drive this point home. And also, like, everyone's watching Free Guy, right, at the end. How are they watching him? Who's streaming the thing?
That's a good point.
Everyone left, didn't
Everyone left, or was booted, or was in another area. Like, what, can they just watch other NPC, a command thing? It's so dumb. Gosh.
I hate Disney. I was forgiving, so I know a bit of the dev stuff, a little bit. So I know that if you see a player in most games like Unreal and stuff like that, you can just click on them, you've got their code right there, you can just delete them, right? Same thing with NPCs, actors, stuff like that. I could forgive all of that stuff, you know. The thing that made me, like, but I remembered it, the thing that was like, no, I'm done with this movie, I unforgive everything, was the moment he pulled out the Captain America shield and the lightsaber.
Oh, really? That was my favourite bit.
That was when I'm like, Disney, you pieces of... I was just like... Guys, you remember product, right? We put product in movie. Remember these movies we release like 3 times a year? Well, we put them in movie so your kids want to see the product and buy the product of the toy. Like, leave me alone. I've seen Endgame. You don't have to put Endgame in everything. They put Fortnite in Endgame. It's like these. You know, I'm always going like this. It was this.
So, what did you like it, Nathan?
I thought it was funny. I thought they had the IP. And so they did something funny with it. It wasn't all serious. Like, it was just he had the shield, cut to what's-his-face that plays Captain America.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, swearing, and then cutting back. And for me, like, you can't do that in many movies.
Disney managed to get Chris Evans? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought they owned him, had him by the... Anyway, it just annoys me when it's like, they put in something that's just like some, I guess you could term this fan service, but there's just for no reason other than get excited about this.
Yeah.
Like, look, we put the product in.
Yeah.
Remember Captain America? Remember Hulk? Remember lightsabers? If I was Disney, I'd keep lightsabers as far away from this movie as possible. Star Wars sucks now.
So it's funny, I'm actually kind of in the middle of both of your takes. Because I like fan service, but I don't like it when it's done cheaply to just dangle keys and just try and draw in audiences and get them distracted by the crap that's being shoveled in front of their face. And especially when it's almost abusatory. And how can fan service be abusatory? I think season 2 of Mandalorian is a bit abusatory, where they have been just crapping on Star Wars fans for ages, and then they're like, "Here, we'll give you this little crumb," but everything. There's so many problems in that show.
Even then, it was just a crumb on a turd.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
At the end as well, mind you.
But the thing is, though, I do admit I probably withdraw that criticism with the Luke Skywalker fan service part. So many people genuinely wanted that, and Favreau.
Which part?
When Luke Skywalker at the
In
end
Mandalorian.
of Mandalorian.
Oh, no, you know what?
He had he fought to have that in, and I thought he had to, because people the higher ups in Disney hate Luke Skywalker. He's a traditional male.
Of course,
hero.
the Empire hates Luke Skywalker.
Exactly.
Bob
And
like,
so they want Luke Skywalker out, but the fact that they showed Luke Skywalker respect in that scene, I was like, okay, good. And so my criticism doesn't go over the board. But I think, fan service can be very done really cheaply. I don't necessarily think it was done cheaply in this, because the movie wasn't founded on it.
Dude.
It was a cheap moment, but the movie wasn't resting on it, and so I can give it a pass.
It did save the plot. It was the thing that kept him alive. But
No,
also,
he started he got access to the glasses again, and he was able to get access to his inventory, and then he was pulling out all the special items, and they chose what items can we use? Oh, we'll use fan service.
They immediately did like, oh, Marvel, and the people in the movie are even like, whoa, and then he's like, lightsaber, and one of the guys like, is that a freaking lightsaber? Like, come on!
See, this is where I'm a bit on your side, where I think people like, this isn't creative.
It's not.
It isn't good writing or anything like that. But it's cheap. Yeah, hey, I recognize that thing. And so I get why people enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I don't like that people blow it out of proportion to think that it elevates the show in any way, making it better. It doesn't. Like, all the problems that ruin this film, in my mind, still exist completely.
Well, I was forgiving them up
and
till that.
I get annoyed when they try and use it to distract you. I don't think they did that overboard in this film, though. I didn't think they were really trying to distract us completely.
The one fan service I did like, they put the scorpion tank from Halo into the movie like twice. I was like, oh yeah, do it again, Daddy. But again, I hate the movie so much.
That's outed you.
What?
If it's fan service that you're on board with,
If it was
you're
all
like ready
No,
to
here's the
lose
thing.
your crap.
Halo's an obscure, is a lot more obscure now. No one really plays Halo
But
anymore.
to big Marvel fanboys, they would have got
course.
their rocks off of as much as that scene as you did with the Halo one. So you can't criticize them for
Yeah,
that.
but Halo's an actual video game, right, that doesn't do that well anymore, okay? And Marvel is something that we all see every single year. Star Wars, we watch every single year.
I smell hypocrisy.
Yeah, a little bit, but the reason I hate it is because Star Wars and Marvel and that, they're just put in our face all the time.
Well, you know, I think it fits us.
What?
Because the world that they're playing in is based off like a GTA Fortnite mesh clone. And so in Fortnite you have all the Marvel Star Wars characters in there. So it makes sense. It's in this like game that is all about taking people's money.
Don't give them too many bloody ideas. Fortnite, GTA, mesh, dude, that is world domination. Do not say that out loud again. Give GTA and...
I know what you guys are working on.
Fortnite. Do not do it.
So, what were some of the more specific, like, dumb moments of the how they portray? So the first
Toxic
one
games.
was when they couldn't delete the NPC.
Yep.
And it's like, are these guys the developers of the game? You know, that's just baffling. Now, what way is there ways that you could try and sell it? Like because this is AI code. Is there a way that it got, I don't know, dug in?
They couldn't delete the NPC, but they could reshape the entire world around them to chase it.
That makes no sense. And the thing too, so they, I assume, are in a QA role, so they're testers. And so when problems happen in the game, it's their job to, like, report the bug. Mm-hmm. And so what I think happened was that they saw this bug and they couldn't, like, they tried to report it, but they didn't know how to. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of makes sense that... But no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, because then you'd have someone else higher up.
Because they're assuming that he's a hacker who's stealing a NPC skin. And so there's hackers, okay, they go that far. But why they couldn't... They would try and ban it, but it's not a player, so they can't ban the player. The thing that's kind of confusing me is, like, why wouldn't they be able to detect that this is an NPC then?
They should be able
Like,
to.
it would be really... Like, it would just be in the game, like, list NPCs in the environment, and right there.
Yeah, let's see
and you could
actors
just
and-
remove NPC. Now, online servers are a bit different, because to change, like, the actual base running code, you need to shut the game down, you change it on they have their own version of the game running that's not offline, and they can do things, and then they would run a maintenance window where the game goes down and they re-upload the new model of the game.
Yeah, wouldn't it depend if the NPC if it was client side or server side?
That's the thing, it would be server side because it's an NPC.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And
it was so bizarre, because when the game they try and to get rid of the NPC, they're going to do a reset, which also doesn't make sense, because one, everyone's like losing their crap. Is like, online games regularly go down for maintenance.
Yeah.
This isn't an uncommon thing, and everyone's losing their crap, and like this is so foreign. And then they just upload whatever build of the game that they want, and problem solved.
Yeah.
But it's like that they think that the online, in this reality, the online game is the only game that exists, and that's it. And it's like, the only build of the game that exists, and
They can't hold it back.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
Like,
justified.
reverted, yeah.
yeah, and that's what they're trying to say that they were doing it with the reset. But they don't call it a rollback. They're just resetting, and resetting would do nothing. It wouldn't actually even reset his code. Like, if the game saves all the progress of what's happening, a reset would just bring it back to the exact same point it was at. It wouldn't change anything. And so they're not rolling back updates or changing code in the reset. All right. Is this like... ultra nitpicky because people will try and enjoy the arc of the NPC guy, the free guy, and the fighting action, and him hitting on the lady. And,
That lady. She wore tight pants that whole movie.
Okay, I reckon you know how they could have fixed it.
Ow.
They could have done a more Matrix style approach, where you don't see the outside world, you're in the game, and instead of talking to the developers and them doing their poorly written ways of doing their work, if you just stay in the game and have it all be.
That's the thing. It would have been a different movie though, because there was a lot of the movie that was in the outside world.
Yeah, if they just got rid of that and kept it to inside the game, then you would have to explain how everything works.
Because again, I think these things aren't really nitpicks because legitimate conflict that the story is founded on is based off of how they're saying the game is operating, and they couldn't delete him or anything like that, and it's bullcrap, and especially when it becomes arbitrary that you can see the writers just making crap up.
Yeah.
That's where you don't get any emotional payoff with the conflict resolutions, and so I was getting nothing at the end, and especially that whole you start smashing the servers, right? That's supposed to be the epic, oh no, the bad guy is about to kill the good guy moment. But I'm sitting there watching, this is utter nonsense. This is complete... just...
So many ways they could have fixed it.
I'm wondering, if I knew nothing about video games, would then this movie actually be watchable or enjoyable?
That's what they were counting on.
I don't know.
You don't think it would be?
Well, because there's a couple of other big fails in the film for me. One, and I was surprised by this, Taika Waititi.
Didn't like him?
He was awful in this film. He was overacting and then trying to be serious, and he was like he was playing a parody of the whole. And this is supposed to be the bad guy, and he was playing an obvious idiot. Yet
he did have the attitude that I imagine the execs to have. It's like, I don't care, I just want money. That's what I expect.
Yeah, but for some reason. It was a complete miss. I don't know why I like his delivery or something. I liked him as... Is it Craig Krog?
Yeah, Korg.
Korg.
Yeah.
I liked him as that. I liked him in What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire one.
That was funny.
But this one, it was just... he came in and it was jarring. As soon as he starts interacting, I don't know what... I'd like to watch it again maybe and just try and figure out what's going on with this delivery. It's just... It pulled me right out. It was not working. It was awful.
Yeah. I think the problem was that he played the jerky exec well, but he had no competence. So how would he get there?
Is that?
I think.
I often ask myself that question.
I think he was trying to be funny by overacting and things, but I did not laugh nothing in the delivery or interactions with him did I get not even close to that's amusing.
Yeah.
I found it cringeworthy and annoying. And he's legitimately trying to be a comedic character. This character's supposed to be entertaining, and it's really not. It's a massive miss.
What did you think about the he's such a troll, and then they're like, yes, God's a troll. Checkmate, Christians.
No, because it was made in such a way that Free Guy was saying, because he didn't know who she was referring to. It's like, what, you're talking about God, and there was miscommunication. So I don't think they were trying to be overtly
I absolutely believe that Disney would be overtly anti-Christian.
I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't think that was like that in this instance.
Well, what about, he's such a troll, these toxic male gamers, and
okay.
a girl.
Let's pause. I want to hold that till later, because I have a larger personal issue with this film and how it treats and depicts gamers. And we'll get there.
The most oppressed class in society. No one more marginalised than us gamers. To you, brothers.
We'll get there. Let's finish up on the issues that I feel exist narratively. And look, if I watched it again and I went through everything, I'd probably have a much more structured thing. This is just after a first viewing.
You didn't take notes this time?
No, I didn't take notes. I just sat down. Let's try. I was trying to enjoy it, but I couldn't. It was pretty darn dumb. So the villain, Taika Waititi, the bad guy, was a complete misfire. His stupidity and then the way that he's trying to stop them is not making sense because they don't know anything. This is like a movie that's made for gamers by people who have no idea about gaming or gamers at all. And they're only looking at it from the outside, which is why they have such a negative, really bad opinion of it. And there was some really stupid parts in this film about... So, it's the whole overriding narrative of how you should treat NPCs. Yeah. And this has some interesting relations if you're aware of the NPC meme. So if you're unaware, there is a meme from people of conservative, anti-woke kind of things that believe the woke crowd, which include like extreme SJWs and all that stuff, are NPCs because they all seem to react the same way and they all seem to be playing off the same script. And you could almost you could almost know all their political positions as soon as you know if they're on certain leaning a certain way.
You're close. NPCs are anyone who don't question the narrative. It's like, oh, TV tells me, okay, that is what is happening. That is what I believe. That's the NPC.
And so I don't think that they were meaning to do the connection that because there's this narrative in the thing about, the way Free Guy is acting brings people to a greater awareness that we need to treat NPCs better.
That wouldn't happen in reality. In reality, they'd be gunning for it.
I know, it was so dumb.
Yeah.
And no way people would react that way. Like, what did you pick up on that, Nathan?
I didn't pick up on it, but I still thought it was dumb how people were just celebrating this NPC who's like doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
No one would care.
No one would care.
No one would care.
No, this is the thing. People, not just gamers. I understand these are not real people. They're completely code, not existent. And so it doesn't matter how you treat. This is why, like Red Dead Redemption, you have the guy going up and bashing the feminist and
feeding an alligator
to a crocodile.
You see, that's why it's
they
funny.
wouldn't do that in real life, but we know it's not real. That's why they do it. And it's funny. And look, if that was a Mormon preacher they just do, I'd probably get a chuckle out of it as well.
Jehovah's Witness, I'd be okay.
But I can laugh at myself. It's like, this thing, NPCs, they're not real. It doesn't matter how you treat
NPC lives matter.
It's like, the bad guys you're shooting, you should pause your game and think about this.
Moral quandary. Have you seen there's this...
Now, this is the thing, by the way, I'll interject and say, I think there's perfectly room to consider what the situation would be like if it was real, like if these were real people and stuff like that. What are the moral implications of this character? And that's why, what happens to Joel in The Last of Us, right? He's an actual character and stuff.
Yeah.
This is actually discussing not actual characters in narrative and story, just random NPCs that are blank slates. And
but then they develop into saying they have like more advanced AI and they have thoughts and feelings and...
Well, if we're dealing with an artificial intelligence, that's different.
Because that's what they end up saying was that like...
But no one knew this was an artificial intelligence. Except the actual two developers.
Yeah. No one else did. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But they were saying how... Did they mention that? Like other...
No, so Free Guy starts to help people in the game.
Yeah.
And they think he's a player.
And they think he's a player.
Then they find out he's an NPC later.
And they might be an NPC, and then they're like, this, tells what should we, we should really think about. And it was more cringeworthy because they got real streamers to deliver those lines.
They couldn't get PewDiePie.
And they were all streaming on YouTube as well. Which for me didn't make much sense.
Well, what about
Twitch?
Didn't they have the lady?
So they had Pokimane, who was from Twitch, and she was the one who was like, she delivers the line. I think about. We need to think about how.
I thought it was Jacksepticeye.
There was was it? But Jacksepticeye, I think he delivers a line like that. Yeah. But there was also Dan TDM. And there was he's a Minecraft YouTuber, and there was someone else that I recognised that I can't remember who.
It was Ninja, I think. It was
Ninja. Yeah, Ninja was there.
5 seconds of fame.
And there was a couple of other streamers that I had no idea who they were, but those are the ones I was Ninja, Pokimane, Jacksepticeye, Dan TDM were the ones I recognised. And yeah, so cringeworthy. And notably, there was no PewDiePie, which
that's a
if
shame.
you wanted to get the biggest, Usually that's, we know what mainstream thinks of poor PewDiePie.
Good old
Don't worry,
Pews.
we're with you, mate. He did nothing wrong. He slipped. And to me, if it's an accident, you can't really be held to same account if you're actually calling someone of that, race the bad word.
He said, okay, to be fair, he's a gamer, and he said the gamer word.
The gamer word.
Okay?
Like...
This is what I'm talking about. Oppressed people, man. Gamers are the most oppressed people.
We'll get to the whole gamer thing. But I did find... Well, this is the thing. I liked that they got real streamers. But for some reason, it still felt cringe. I don't know what... Like, is it because they can't act? And you know that they're... Was it that?
Well, I think it was because they weren't in their natural state of doing stuff. They had been given a script, and you knew it wasn't
And they
real.
weren't reacting... Because we know these people so much.
Yeah.
They weren't reacting the right. And the thing that annoyed me is Pokimane isn't a gamer. She's reacting to a Fortnite game, and her commentary is the worst. It's just like she has no idea about the gameplay, and then having her commenting on a look. She does comment on games. She's done it before, but the most vapid, useless commentary I've ever seen in a gameplay reaction. Right, and. It's like, I don't know, by having her be a spokesperson for how the entire gaming community will respond to something, is like...
No, it's not...
She represents the female gamers.
Ninja, I get, Jacksepticeye, I get, Dan TDM, I get,
No, but...
but they needed, I guess they needed a female...
Yeah,
Because
they
other
needed
female
gamers.
gamers.
Yeah, why not get an actual female gamer?
Because there are none. There are none. Name one who's an actual avid female gamer.
What's her face? Alana Pierce.
Oh, she's a journalist. She doesn't count.
No, she's a game writer.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? It's just it's all the...
What about Hex from Good Games? She's a gamer.
You found one.
Oh,
we have
but
one.
it's true. See?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you.
I asked for one. You gave me one.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Give me another.
Well, if there's one, there must be more. So there we go. Pokimane was a big miss for me. If you're trying to represent the gaming community, and then so that whole narrative about treating NPCs better, big miss. It felt very critical because they were reacting to if you're playing GTA, random people you're walking down the street. These aren't the narrative, characters that are playing part in the story or things like that. And it's just in a game structure like GTA. And just on this note, because it's related, the game that they make in the end, which is this nirvana paradise, perfect place with no violence or all the NPCs here, that looked like the most boring piece of crap I've ever seen in my life. It's and because there is this overarching narrative about this, that things that people like to do in games, like blowing stuff up and shooting things, is bad, and an outset of toxic gaming thing, and there's that narrative is in this film, okay, and there's even larger, more explicit things like that, but it's also portrayed at the end where they're basically saying NPCs are in a happy place because there's no violence now. They're not being oppressed by those evil players who always rob them and attack them and all those things. It's just what an awful mess because it's not true. And also, stop vilifying, because guess what? Blowing things up is friggin' fun.
Yeah. Why do you think
especially, why do we think we make these digital things where it doesn't harm anyone and stuff like that? I was and just because you like blowing things up in a digital space doesn't mean you'll ever do it. There's no relation between gaming and violence.
No, there's no relation.
There is no relation between... Look, if someone is naturally violent, okay, they can try and express those violent tendencies in video games, okay, but it doesn't increase it. There's already been studies on it. It doesn't make... If they're already violent,
I'm not saying
they're violent because of external things and also their own mental health issues.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there is a link between just violence and video games. I'm not saying that video games cause violence or violence causes video games.
Well, our link is in it's depicting acts of violence, therefore it's a type of...
No, you're just saying that I'm saying that.
That's what I'm trying to understand what you're saying. That's
you see, to be honest, I'm not sure entirely what I am saying, but there's definitely some sort of vague remote link.
What type of link is what I'm asking?
From violence to video games, from video games to
What,
violence.
are you talking about real world violence in video games or digital violence? Be specific.
Tell you what, have you ever seen the videos of like people playing a video game, right, and they get killed and they just destroy everything in their room?
Mm.
So what are the things you
guess
did
what?
like about it?
People like that will also react the same way when they lose Monopoly. You've never seen anyone spaz out playing Monopoly? I have.
You have? Was it you?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh.
But this
Who
is
was
the
it?
thing. Like stressful competitive games, regardless if they have violence or not, can trigger people just as much.
Okay.
And so to say that the violence depicted in video games encourages people to lash out violently.
I didn't say that.
No, well that's what I'm also that's not true. And I feel this movie, which is supposed to be made for gamers, actually has this kind of narrative subtly in terms of the payoff, but more overtly when they actually talk about the behavior of gamers.
Okay, so you can say there's subtly like violence and stuff like that, but when I say that they call God
Subtly
a troll,
violence.
they call God a troll, and there's a part where everyone's like, "You're 22 years old and living at home. There is no God." Like, there's an active anti-Christian thing in this.
Yeah, all right, I can give you that.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll give you the I was wrong about. Look, honestly, I think I don't know what I saw on the violence thing. Yeah, he made a concession. I'll make one. There we go.
All right, so one of the only actual gamers who play this video game in this movie that's shown playing, that's not a streamer, is this overweight, fat, socially awkward nerd living at home with his mum.
Yeah, who looks like Channing Tatum in a video game. I want that video game.
But what, like, that's how they wanted to pick gamers in this film.
They showed two little girls playing. And were they the same little
Actually,
girls?
you're right. They showed multiple... I'm wrong. They showed multiple other people reacting and stuff like that in the game. But when I'm talking about, like, a high-tier player that's, you know, we see, more in-depth what they're doing, that's how they chose to depict it.
To be fair, though, that's not entirely incorrect.
But it's not entirely correct either.
Yeah, I know.
And I actually feel it's less representative of what most gamers are like nowadays. We've grown up. Most guys are living perfectly balanced, healthy lives and playing lots of games.
Excluding Oz.
Excluding Oz.
No, but like, think about comic book guy.
But, all right, talking about representation, okay, of what's more representative of the average gamer, look at us.
We're not the
Only
average
one of
gamer.
us is the depressed single person. Man, baby.
I might be the depressed single man baby who's incredibly alone, but I get most of the comments, baby. And that's what's important to me. You people.
But it's true. But Nathan and I are married. We're both ours, so it's what is showing more representation.
But as well, okay.
The thing is, all right, Oz actually isn't living at home with his mum. Okay,
He's moved
Yes.
out.
he's moved out. He's got a paying job.
This is an inside joke, guys. And it's a painful one. COVID hit! I'm not accountable for my actions at this time. Oh, man.
Sorry,
But yeah, I was going to say, being in a relationship and doing more things in my life, I have less time for games. And so it made sense to me that the guy who had everything in the game and all this recorded footage would kind of have no life.
the sweaty players, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
the
that might
sweats.
be true. You could say that most sweaty players need to get out a bit more. Still, I really dislike the negative stereotype.
Yes.
And this movie really is accentuating that with that pathetic guy. And then there's multiple times in the movie where it actually talks about toxic gaming, toxic players. Like the word toxic comes up multiple times, and like even the female character, like when she discovers his NPC, is like the first non-toxic whatever like person who's isn't even human. It's like, and that's a pretty condemning statement where she's basically saying every single guy that she's come across while in this game is a toxic man baby. And it's like, screw you, movie.
I feel like that's a worse reflection on her than it is on the people she's judging.
Well, no, this movie is basically saying that most gamers are toxic man babies.
Yeah.
That's what this movie is saying. And so this movie can go screw itself.
Yeah.
Like screw you for depicting and vilifying
But
gamers like
if
us.
you
'Cause
hate
that's me.
But if you hate the people you're interacting with all the time, that says more about you than it does about them.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not saying toxicity doesn't exist in the game, but guess what? Toxicity exists everywhere. Like, archery community, emu community, sword enthusiast community, and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying it's full of toxicity, but toxicity exists. You'll find it. And it's the same with gaming.
You see, that for
It's
me,
not everything is toxic.
yeah, but for me it's different, right? I think there's two types of toxicity. Like games like Rust, Gmod, GTA, stuff like that. They have people like who are on each other constantly, like hate, F word,
Yeah, they
like, all
actively,
that.
yeah.
But that's
the competitive nature.
Exactly. That's good toxicity. But what happened with you in the HEMA community and the Bow community and stuff like that, that's... I wouldn't
And by the
call
way,
that...
that's the minority in those communities. Okay, I just want to specify.
Well, if they're the minority, their voices should be elevated, Shad.
But, sorry, continue, yeah.
But yeah, like, and this might be a controversial take, I think the more toxic a gaming community, the better it shows how healthy it is, right? The more toxic a game is, the more popular it is, and probably the more better it is.
I disagree.
I agree completely with what I said just now.
No, I think...
Like, look at League of Legends, Rust, yeah, exactly. Completely toxic, right?
Like, yeah, the chat in Dota,
But how popular are they?
and also the interaction between players and stuff.
And how good are they? They're all great games, massive communities, are all incredibly toxic. People will keep playing even though the communities are garbage, right? But they still love it. So it's a good... If a game is toxic completely, that is a good thing.
I don't know. I disagree.
I disagree.
Okay.
Because I reckon they should have had some good people within the game. Because
Yeah.
I've played games like Gary's Mod, I've played GTA, and I've had the deepest, most meaningful chats with randoms while, like, driving on the freeway, mowing down pedestrians.
There it is.
Like, there are good people online that you find, like, randoms, and you just become best friends. And it sucks that she, like... was just like, everyone in this game sucks and they're all just man babies, when really, if it was realistic, you'd find at least like a small group of people.
What's a woman
Not
baby?
even small. Like, I think the really extreme toxic players actually represent the minority, but they're noticeable because they're a-holes and they're outspoken. And so, I think that's something that I was going to say based off of what you were mentioning. I just mean people, stuff. This is me meandering, so cut this whoever's editing it.
I met you in a video game.
Actually true. And was I toxic?
No, I was though.
I was going to say, it was
you
toxic.
I wouldn't call you toxic. Like,
Well, toxic to people who aren't friendly with me.
actually, that's true. Yeah, you could become toxic. You very much
Remember all
capacity.
the little tricks we did to get around certain rules that the admin gave us? It has been 3 years, Shad.
No. We will never talk about that.
What's going to happen? Like, FBI, open up! And just, what's going to happen?
Let's never talk about that.
Oh, man, no. You know what? I'm proud of my toxic days on Conan Exiles. At least I wasn't a sweat. I was just toxic. Toxic sweats are the worst.
No, you became less toxic when you met me.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're just a beacon of warmth and wholesomeness.
But when Oz really wants to troll people and for the purpose of just annoying them, he can be a top tier troll, especially if they're American.
Ask Ben's wife. You're decent at trolling me.
I'm great at it.
Yeah, you're actually good. You're actually very good at trolling.
Well, it's a power I hold in reserve to only use at times. I could get real. I have the capacity to get really stuck into people and just.
Yeah.
But
Remember that headlock? That was great. You were really stuck into me then. I can break these cuffs. I couldn't.
So, those are kind of the larger issues I had with the film, which just made a very sour taste. It ruined any redeeming features in it. The stupidity in the plot, which ruined the payoffs and the climax and the conflict. The crappy villain, Taika Waititi, was just dumb. The negativity and overarching narratives about NPCs, you're a bad person if you kill NPCs and are mean to them, and that gamers are toxic and all that stuff. Didn't like that. So, what did you like about the movie, guys?
I liked the part where he's getting coffee and he asks for an espresso, and then the cop's like, someone's about to get shot, and I thought, most accurate part of the movie.
Sorry, we're Australians. Oz is just he's reflecting what he feels is the normal behaviour of the police over here at the moment.
Totally used to it now.
Was there anything else?
No.
So this is the thing. I kind of like the concept, right? It's because I'm a gamer. It's something I relate to. It'd be kind of fun, seeing like what a GTA world would be like to an NPC that becomes self-aware. But the execution just sucked. But there are some moments that you could kind of find fun in the relations, like, hey, but it's also just. I didn't get the glasses. It's like,
they had to have a visual.
I know, but it was so. That's just not how games work. It's like what when you take off the glasses, the players they lose their UI.
That's what happened. Actually, that is exactly what happened.
It's like what?
It's called a HUD.
Again,
Stupid.
so you were going to say something. This way you needed to cut me off.
Yeah, so I just you kept going on a tangent. And I was like, you're right. This is an awful movie because there was so many. So okay, the first time that I went, okay, this is a bad movie, I'm gonna have problems with this, was when they had the little indie dev interview with them both back at like some older game convention, and she's like, why do you want to be a programmer? And he's like, well, it's all about ones and zeros, and that's all I see. If you program
In ones in binary.
you don't program in ones and zeros. You use English.
Well, you use a different
You use
programming
syntax.
language.
You don't use ones and zeros. The computer uses ones and zeros. But to do that, you have to go like 6 layers deep, which you'll never do.
Like Inception.
Yeah, and so that was the one thing where I was like, okay, you guys don't know what you're doing. Well, when he broke the collision and they like brought that building down, he was leaving the building with his laptop that still had access to everything, and all he did was press enter, and then the building went and did that thing. And I was like, hey, if you got fired, you'd have access cut off. You wouldn't keep the laptop that they gave you, and to do something like that wouldn't work with just pressing an enter key. That was also a moment that broke it for me. There's just these little things that become very big.
So Ryan Reynolds, he's always enjoyable. I like the character was fun and naive, and so there was a bit of a charming aspect to him. I agree, and so if that's all you need in a movie, and people can enjoy it. I'm not. If people be like, I haven't even watched any reviews of Free Guy. People liking it.
People like it.
Oh wow.
I think they just like Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is charming,
Yeah.
and so
He sold the
like him.
movie.
I don't like him.
I
like the girl.
No, Ryan Reynolds is good. Come on.
He's in everything, man. And he's always got that same expression.
No, he did play a different character this time. Like his expressions were mostly the same as Ryan Reynolds' expressions, but the delivery was a bit more naive, and the character was distinctly different from other characters he's played.
I think this movie would have been better if they went like a Truman Show route, where like the NPC notices things are wrong with the world that he's in.
That's what they were saying. Like someone said that it was like Ready Player One and Truman Show.
Yeah.
Meshed into
Like
one.
Matrix.
But it would have been fun if it was more. Well, he kind of did though.
No, he just took the glasses and put them on. That was it. That's what he did. He's like, maybe if I wear glasses too, she'll talk to me. And he put the glasses on. That was it. He's like, whoa! Now I can do the money. Now I can do the health. Now I can do everything. It was like.
I'm sure there was a stage though when he went around and was experimenting, and realizing things. No, he did.
I think we all had a stage in our lives like that.
There was a part where he went up and talked to people.
Yeah.
Like the cat lady, who kept losing her cat.
Yeah, but he was just yelling.
Yeah, he asked for a different cappuccino before he got the glasses. He was starting to step outside of the code.
Did he?
Because then he also bought the shoe. Like he didn't show up to work, and everyone started to freak out because he didn't show up.
Oh.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I don't remember this movie. I've already forgotten.
So he had a bit of that, but then it spiraled into.
So there we go. I guess that's been our discussion thoughts on Free Guy. Turns out none of us liked it.
I liked this Halo tank and the lady with the tight pants, but that's it.
I'm trying to think, was there anything I really enjoyed in it? I'm having trouble thinking of anything.
You really love defending the Marvel and Star Wars stuff in it.
Just because I don't think it didn't ruin the film. I remember I partly agree with you.
It ruined it for me. That was when I was like, nah, done with it.
I think the concept was interesting, but that makes it more of a letdown for me because they ruined a fun, interesting concept, and so every time I try and think of something good, I'm just think of all the more bad stuff. It's so dumb.
They're doing a sequel now, though. They've greenlit a sequel.
Oh gosh!
So we're going to get number 2.
Oh yeah, I bet it'll be a number 2.
Well, but I hadn't seen it beforehand, and they'd announced it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Must have been pretty good." But now, realizing the ending, I don't know what they're gonna do in a sequel.
It's going to be in the new video game world that looks so boring and dumb.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna come back.
Now, you know what? Like, they might even push it further, and Free Guy will come into the real world in like a robot body or something like that.
No, please.
Dude, you were way behind them actually. I said you were ahead of them with the Fortnite and GTA combination. I was wrong. They're doing Fortnite, GTA, Marvel, Star Wars, Ryan Reynolds, and they're just putting it all into one. That's what this is.
Free Guy 2 will just be the Disney movie.
I'm gonna kill myself.
So, there we go. That's our thoughts on Free Guy. Thank you for watching. This is the Game Night, and we are wishing you a good night.
Good night.
See ya.